selling. "I've been musing," said Henry. Percy laughed. "You want to be careful, you'll go blind," he said. Henry gave him one of his looks. "I've been musing," he said. "Do you remember when the railway was run for the benefit of the passengers?" James spoke first. "That must have been, I don't know, about 10 years ago." "Well, certainly before the fat controller started giving chunks of it to his chums." "That's right," said Edward. "Some years ago, the railway on the island of Sodom was owned by the people. It was run for the people, by people who knew about railways. The trains were clean, the fares were cheap, and the trains usually ran on time. This pleased the passengers, but it didn't please the people who owned the island. And this was strange, because the people who own the island don't actually live there. They spend most of their time on luxury yachts, moored in tax havens, somewhere just beyond extradition. The people who own the island didn't pay anything towards the railways, but they did think that it was terribly unfair that the railway didn't pay anything to them. And so they came up with a plan. They told the fat controller to take the railway away from the people, split it up into chunks and give the chunks to them. Once he'd given them the railway, they would put up the fares, cut the service, replace the timetables with things called balance sheets, and get the fat controller to give them billions of pounds of the passengers' money." "It's called privatisation," said Edward. "But how does that help the passengers?" asked Thomas. "It doesn't," said Edward. "It's all about putting public money into private pockets." "At least there's nothing else they can privatise," said Thomas.